Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Mass Innovation Nights number 137. If you are not presenting, if you can make sure to mute your mic, that would be very helpful. So if you are not presenting, please mute. Thank you. Thank you. Again, welcome to Mass Innovation Nights number 137. And this is also part of the Global Women's Entrepreneurship Day. So, round the world, women founders, women entrepreneurs are gathering. I would like to thank all of our entrepreneurs and all of our investors, and also Bostino, BBJ, Sam Mintz is here. And we've got a great agenda for the day. So we are going to kick things off with welcoming our panel of investors. And they are going to talk a little bit about why they invest in women-founded companies and what they look for. Again, if you are not presenting, if you can be muted, that would be awesome. Help us get a great recording and make sure that this sounds fabulous for posterity. So if I haven't met you before, my name is Bobby Carlton. I'm the founder of Mass Innovation Nights and also Innovation Women. And over the pandemic, I bought Lioness Magazine. So all three organizations are coming together to help support women entrepreneurs. Also, my day job is I run a PR and marketing firm, and that helps get the word out. Mass Innovation Nights over the last 12 years has helped to launch more than 1,500 new products in the Boston market. We've also expanded into other markets. We recently helped support a Maine Innovation Nights, and there have been New Hampshire Innovation Nights, Western Mass, Pioneer Valley Innovation Nights, New York Innovation Nights, Connecticut Innovation Nights. But today we're here in Massachusetts, and again, part of Women's Entrepreneurship Day. Mass Innovation Nights is focused on helping get women entrepreneurs and new products in general more visibility. And when I talk about more visibility, what I'm talking about today is using your social network and helping to promote local entrepreneurs. So if you are joining us here today, you have one job, and that is to help us to promote these great, very cool products that are coming out of women founders' imaginations and creativity and innovation. So if you see something cool, if you hear something cool, blog about it, tweet about it, post it on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, whatever. Your network is valuable, and using it helps us get the word out about the amazing products you will see here today. So we're going to kick off a short panel, a discussion about investing in women entrepreneurs. And my friend Sam, where did you go? Sam is going to be helping with this conversation. So Sam, I'm going to spotlight you. Oh, that removes all the pinned videos. I didn't know that. Hey, I learn something new every day. All right. Well, let's do it anyway. All right. We are going to spotlight you, Sam, and that will help us kind of kick off this conversation. So maybe we can start off with welcoming you to the Boston market and to Bostino and Boston Business Journal. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
Great. Yeah, good morning. Thanks so much for having me, for inviting me to take part. Really excited. Should be a lot of fun. So I'm Sam Mintz. I'm a reporter at Bostino, which is part of the Boston Business Journal. I cover innovation, which is really a broad definition, but it mostly means startups and early stage tech companies, or more, established companies doing something new, or even sort of nonprofits and others in various other spaces doing something innovative, cool, basically. So my job is find cool stuff and write about it. It's a pretty cool job. I just moved back to Boston after spending 5 years in DC, where I was reporting on government policy, politics for a couple outlets, including Politico and E&E News, covering transportation and energy policy. So those are two areas of interest for me. But I grew up here in Boston, so I'm really happy to be back home and back here and in this community and this ecosystem, and really excited to be diving into covering companies and nonprofits like the cool stuff that you guys are doing.
Excellent. All right. And I'm going to bring Deb Kemper up on stage. So, Deb, maybe a quick introduction for you. Tell us about you and Golden Seeds.
Hi, thanks, Bobby, for having me here, and thanks, everybody. I'm Deb Kemper. I'm an angel, well, not an angel investor anymore. I started as an angel investor, still am, but now run a small fund focused on female founders and gender diverse founding teams. I do that through Golden Seeds. It's a national network of investors, over 300 angels and small funds that are part of our membership group. And we love working with really early stage companies. Bobby's worked with some of our companies in her firm, and love the network here in Boston.
Always helps to unmute yourself before you talk. Yes. All right. Now I'm going to bring up Marjorie. Marjorie,
hi,
hello.
Yeah, hello. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Bobby. As far as me, I've led and grew a food diagnostic business to over 100 countries, then sold it to a multi-billion-dollar player. And I ran the business for a while and really missed the entrepreneurial environment. And then what I did is I pivoted to consulting for the business I sold, then became an angel investor, advisor, and board member to early stage companies. I'm part of two angel groups. One is Launchpad Venture Group, the largest angel group in the Northeast and third largest in the US, with 170 members with varying backgrounds. We invest in life science and tech, and I'm a member also of Branch Venture Group, which invests in food, beverage, and food tech.
Excellent. Okay. And now I'm going to bring up Pradeep Aradia for his introduction. You are muted.
Well, I guess my voice was still in bed or something like that. Thank you for having me, Bobby. My name is Pradeep Aradia. I run Novus Floris, which is a digital strategy company. About 6 years ago, I started investing in some of my mentees. And one of my greatest investments is Bobby herself with Innovation Women. We have a focus on diversity. That's one of our lanes of investments. And it's always lovely to drop into a Mass Innovation Nights event and see all the folks and all the ideas, and of course, obey Bobby.
All right. And our last panelist this morning, Lisa, introduction.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Frusteir, and I am involved in a couple of different things. It's wonderful to be here and to be part of the Boston investment community. So thank you, Bobby, for organizing this. I'm now investor in residence at an organization called the Capital Network, which is a not-for-profit that provides investor and entrepreneur education on the early stage funding environment. Lead investor on the Portfolio Enterprise Fund, and I just joined a new fund called Third Culture Capital, which is in Boston. And the thread that ties these activities together is channeling capital to women and to people of color and to underrepresented groups in general, but also finding funding structures that don't necessarily fit the cookie cutter mold of venture capital.
Excellent. All right. Sam, would you like to lead us off with any questions?
Yeah, so I think Bobby kind of laid out the central question in the buildup, which is sort of, why do you invest in female founded companies? Why is that important to you? What's your strategy around it? So I think that's as good a place as any to start. Kind of sort of a broad, broad question. Why is this something that you do? Why is it important to you? Do you do it for societal reasons or individual ones? And yeah, I mean, you guys are all equal, so I'm going to pick someone at random to start. So let's go with Deb.
Great. Well, that's our founding thesis of what we do at Golden Seeds, and it started back in 2004 when our founder Stephanie Newby was talking with female entrepreneurs, mentoring them, and they said we need checks, right? We get a lot of folks who want to offer advice, but we need money, and so she started pooling, her network to start writing checks for female founders. And why they do it is one, they're good companies. And two, when you looked at the data, we looked at the data from public markets, and when you had more women in leadership, companies did better, on all metrics. And we felt that should apply to angel and venture capital. And we view it as, these women are starting great companies, and it's an underfunded group, and so we should get great returns. And from our network, we've had 5 IPOs this year, so or 3 IPOs and 2 other exits. We're seeing the results of what women-founded companies can do when they're given a chance and given money at these earliest stages.
That's a good year. I hope we'll have time to dive a little more into the specifics later. Marjorie, do you want to go next?
Sure. I invest for similar to what Deb said for those reasons, but also personally, they're terrific companies. And the question is, why wouldn't I? A third of my investments are in women-led companies, and a third are led by people of color. It's really looking at companies on just a neutral, equal footing, and that's how my portfolio came into being. A third women, a third people of color, and I would say the same thing for both Launchpad and a Branch Venture Group. Just very, very a terrific performance.
Pradeep, do you want to go next?
Sure. I think my perspective on supporting women is maybe a little bit different. If you look at the Fortune 500s and the leadership there, they're primarily male, and they run economies, they run countries. And I think it's very important to include other perspectives, particularly female ones, which are more nurturing, I believe. So I support them in multiple ways. I invest in women-led companies. I try to make women a little bit more visible via Innovation Women. I look at education for young girls, and I look at all of those things as levers to make the world a little bit different.
All right, and Lisa, we'll go to you next.
My reasons for investing in female-run companies are similar, but I'm going to talk about something a little bit different, which is capital. And capital is one of the most direct forms of power that we have. We're all affected by it, and yet very few people have the vocabulary, the tools, the know-how to exercise that power. As soon as you bring a different set of eyes into the world of how capital is allocated, then you're creating potentially a different, and I believe, better world, because what we value is sort of arbitrary. It's all of us in the decision about what is valuable and what is not valuable. So I see this as a huge social justice issue and a way of creating a better world.
I really love the zoom out, but I also would love to hear you guys zoom in and talk about some of the, give shout outs to some of the companies that you're working with. And the question I want to go with there is sort of what stands out about companies that are founded by women? I mean, are there fundamental differences or that you see in the companies that are within your portfolios, and what's different about them, and what's new, and what's special about them, if anything? And the answer is maybe no, they're not. They're just women. They're the same as the companies that we work with that are founded by men. So let's go there. And also, like I said, would love to hear some individual brief stories from you guys about companies you work with, and anyone can jump in at this point.
I'll start again, I guess. So I think some of the different, I don't think there's any difference, right? Other than I think women-led companies get to revenue faster, and we've seen that over and over. They have to do more with less. I love always quoting the Mass Challenge BC, Boston Consulting Group study on this, on their cohorts where women get, 50% of the money, but outperform in terms of revenue after 2 years. That's what we see. And so I think the difference is they're doing more with less, but they have just as good ideas. They can build just as big companies. As I said, we've had 3 that went public this year. And if you look at the amount of capital they took in, it was nowhere near some others, right, that have gone out there. And they're not necessarily given enough runway to pivot when they need to. They're kind of given one shot. And when I hear experienced entrepreneurs talk, they say, you need to have at least 2 or 3 shots at the market, right, to get your idea there. And they're not always given that. And that's why I think all of the investors on this panel, do what we do.
I agree with Deb on that. I don't think there's a huge difference between the way men and women operate companies. I do believe, though, that women tend, in general, to be a little bit more fair, ethical, and nurturing. And I will go out on a limb and say that publicly. But I think one of the most interesting companies that came up for me, which reaches across multiple layers of working in entrepreneurial women, is indeed Innovation Women. You can list a profile and people will come in and offer to have you speak at their events. Visibility is indeed equal to opportunity. And I think being able to provide that to multiple strata, both at the entry level as well as at the executive level, is unique. And finding such companies with ideas that touch generally make society a little bit better, but also provide opportunity to others is really important to me.
I can certainly jump in, and I think I'd echo similar comments. And I'd also add that I think when you're looking at an investment, valuation is important, and not that we want to create a balance where it's a great deal for both the investors and the entrepreneurs. And I see, and I think that some others have also, in terms of both the projections and valuations, a lot of the women run companies, it's a little more on the realistic side and scaling out. And that, of course, is attractive to investors. Sam, I don't know if you'd like me to talk about some of the women-led companies that I've invested in.
Yeah, if you wanted to just do a quick shout out to 1 or 2 and tell us about why they've been successful or why they're going to be successful.
Oh, sure. Torigen is one I'd like to highlight. And actually, the founder of Torigen was part of Science 30 Under 30 for Forbes. What she did is she worked for a professor at Notre Dame, and this professor was just heartbroken that his golden retriever was going to pass away in 6 months. And he found a formula to extend that dog's life for 3 to 3 years, from 6 months to 3 years. And what she decided to do is commercialize that product. And she's brought it out, and very successfully, to the US and Canada. And it's 25% of the price. And for a while during the pandemic, the cancer surgeries just were not done, and radiation treatments for dogs. And so this, she scaled extremely well and helped so many pets in the meantime. The other company I'd like to highlight is Imbeba. It's actually a natural skin balm with anti-inflammatory and soothing herbs. And that founder, Tai Ann Hong, she was mentioned founder 40 Under 40 in Boston. So I'd like to highlight both of those.
And I'll talk about specific companies as well. A couple of the ones that I've recently invested in. One is a health and beauty care company that is imbued with a values-aligned approach. Everything from the chemicals used in the products to working conditions for people who work for the company. So some of the people who work for the company are people who provide hair care, and working arrangements for people who do that are not very good. It's hard to have a long-term career and benefits and all of that. So it's just top to bottom, left to right. The founder is a queer woman, and the values of the company and values of the world are front and center. And that's an example of taking a business that is not necessarily driven by social justice and equity and giving it that perspective. Another organization I'm invested in is called Founders First, started by an African-American woman who raised about $35 million in venture capital. And it's a revenue-based fund, which is a different funding structure that trains entrepreneurs who meet certain revenue requirements and then gives them a lot of consulting services in order to grow businesses that fill a gap. We're really sorely lacking mid-size companies run by women of color, and not all of the entrepreneurs are women of color, but it's really to fill that gap. And the response has just been phenomenal. This organization has gotten backing by a lot of foundations, actually. So I'll stop there, but those are just some examples where values are front and center. There's a clear mission that's explicitly articulated.
And someone in the audience wants to make sure they know the name of this company.
Yeah, they were
Okay.
asking about the skincare company.
The skincare company.
Wait, it's hair care. Madison Reed.
Ah.
Are people? I'd be curious to know if people are familiar with it.
Yeah.
And sort of, oh, sorry, Sam. I mean,
go ahead.
companies, for me, it's like trying to ask me to pick a favorite child. I mean, we have companies doing everything from, cures for pancreatic cancer to Alzheimer's, on the healthcare side, and, sepsis detection in hours versus days, to things that, new manufacturing techniques or bringing jobs back to, Lawrence. One of my companies is 99 Degrees Custom, and they've got 300 plus jobs in Lawrence where they're moving, the unemployment rate there with living wages, and really was on the leading edge of reshoring of manufacturing. So, I mean, there's just so many examples. There's such great examples out there. I think every company is different, and we see everything in every sector across our investments of what people are doing, from really deep tech to healthcare to consumer.
We have a few minutes left, so I'll make this my last question. But I'd love to hear more about each of your individual investment styles and strategies. And what I mean by that is, you've all mentioned to some degree what you care about in companies you invest in, what your firms or individual targets are, or even specific types of companies you invest in. But it seems to me that that's actually a more and more common approach, is having a specific type of founder or specific values-based investment goal that you're looking for. So what beyond that are your sort of strategies and styles, and what are you looking for? And if there are entrepreneurs in the audience here, what would you say to them about what you're looking for? And we can start with anyone who's ever ready to dive in.
I can start. I look for 5 major things. I talked about a few of them, but first would be a breakthrough product or service in a service addressable market, known as SAM, for at least $100 million. The CEO is really important, and the team is really important also. And in tech companies, it's really the combination of technical wizardry and high-level business know-how as a CEO. And also very important is the ability to listen to advice. You don't have to take it, but it's important that one's open to feedback. Obviously, really understanding your financials and projections ahead in your market, having a realistic valuation for investment, and also showing some similar companies which have exited in your space, so an investor can imagine the return.
I'll chime in.
Go ahead.
So I would echo what Marjorie said, and also just observe that the reasons why investors invest can be different if we're investing on behalf of a fund versus investing for our own portfolios. If you're investing on behalf of a fund, as Marjorie pointed out, the exit market is really important because that's the only way that investors make money. But if you're investing as an individual, you can afford to wait, be patient, maybe just back a company whose mission you love, where there is not necessarily as clear a path to return. As for what I look for, I am really interested in what motivates the entrepreneur. It's looking for people who have a clear vision and who have faced substantial challenges and overcome those, and also who know how to put together a really strong team. And I'm so interested in what drives entrepreneurs that I'm actually trained as a coach and work with founders and business owners on how to grow into the role of CEO, how to grow into the role of a leader of a company.
I'll add, I think everything that Marjorie and Lisa mentioned just now are super important. The two things that I would add to that are, one, I definitely look for impact. It is not necessarily about a return. It's about the impact that the idea is going to have on society. That's one thing. And another important thing for me is clarity within the entrepreneur on their spend plan, right? They ask for a certain spot of money. How are they going to actually spend it and achieve the metrics and goals that they've set forth in their plan? I think that is super important. If they do not have really detailed clarity on that, I think they're just taking a shot.
Yeah, I would build on that. I mean, I agree with what everyone said. I think for us, especially because we lead and write term sheets for a lot of deals, and so I think that plan that Pradeep mentions, and we look for clear milestones, like what is this money going to get you that's going to increase your valuation going forward as an investor. You're looking for that step up of the next round, and can they get the next round of capital? We don't want to bridge, like we never say, like we don't want to bridge to nowhere. And so as an entrepreneur, thinking through what is this money going to get me to, right? And is, what's then the next round? And for us as a lead, it's really those conversations with the founders, and do they understand the business, the economics of their business? I think sometimes if someone hears they're too early, I think the underlying message is, do you really understand the value chain of what you're going into and the business and sector you're going into? And when you understand that, we might go in pre-revenue, right? So nothing's really ever too early. It's more, do you really understand those foundational factors in the sector you're going into?
Great. Well, we are coming up on 8 o'clock. Thank you all so much for your insight, for answering the questions, and for being here. I'm going to turn it back over to Bobby for, I believe the next step is the presentations. So yeah, thanks again for all the panelists for taking part.
Thank you all. That was great, and such a good way to kick us off. And I'm going to bring up our presenters, and they are going to be presenting in alphabetical order. So that means, Gentrio, you are going to be starting, and that is...
It's Renee.
Renee, come on up.
Okay, can I share my screen?
Yes, you can. So, and Emily is going to be timing you.
Okay, oops, I gotta just get all this. Okay, can I go?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, hi, I'm Renee Vr. I'm with Gentrio. Gentrio means 3 generations, and we are next generation estate planning. There's lots of companies that have tackled estate planning, but none have really taken it from a view of, what does a family need? What are new things we can do to help families? Because too many people don't do estate planning today, and if they do it, they also can't find their documents. So today, right now, the largest wealth transfer in history is happening, and it just started this year, so it's real, but no one has their estate planning done. So this is something people really do need right now. But what we really want to do is make sure that estate planning is a lifelong partnership. This means connecting to your family, connecting to all the folks that matter to you. And really, it's being there for folks. My dad had 7 strokes, and along the way, we created Gentrio so that all you had to do is hit the button, get your healthcare proxy, get your medication list. But it's really about revolutionizing the marketplace. Today, people aren't doing estate planning, like I mentioned. The emotions are ignored. Everybody really, if they do get their documents done, they're never usable because you can't find them. So it's something that really does need to be fixed. We use the iceberg approach here, where that's what it was, but these are all the things that Gentrio adds. We just won yesterday a mention in the U.S. News and World's for the best online wills this year, because it really is a new approach to being able to include all the things that have been missing in the past. And so real quick, so the award-winning product, we have a B2B approach. We know that going B2C is really expensive, so we've been building out our fantastic customer and really working with banks, credit unions, employer groups to make sure that they can have this new resource in a time after COVID where so many realized they needed that. So right now, what we need, we're raising money from investors, and we want to make sure that we have investors who are committed to diversity impact, like so many of you. And we have a fantastic set of investors. We raised about $1 million from everyone from Carolyn Everson, the head of Instacart, to Luis Robles, and many other diverse investors as well. We also need companies that would use this as a benefit. So if any of you out there have companies that would be interested in really a benefit where your employees during those tough situations need help, that's us. And we're hiring a director of product. So if anyone knows a fantastic director of product, my email is rfry@gentrio.com. So rfry@gentrio.com. And we'd love to talk with them. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Next, we have up Global Secure Student. Carrie, you are up.
Hello, Bobby. Thank you so much. So here we go.
All right. Hold on. We're going to highlight you. And go.
Wonderful. So what is most important to you in this world? When people are asked this question, they will almost certainly say it's family, health, and safety. And for good reason, because no matter where you go, even if it's the grocery store, the gas station, the pharmacy, or on vacation, you and your family are at a heightened risk when traveling around the corner or around the world. The truth is, once you leave your safety zone, the risk goes up. Now, I'm Carrie Pasquarello, co-founder of Global Secure Resources, and I'm a victim advocate that focuses on keeping the ones you care about safe at home, at work, and when traveling, making sure that we're working collaboratively from the C-suite to the student to develop a culture of safety. Our virtual and on-site training includes strategizing employee safety, workplace violence prevention, active shooter training, and travel security for business. But today, I'm here to share about a newly released book titled Study Abroad Safety, A Parent's Guide to Sending Your Child Abroad. Now, this book will help reduce stress and anxiety for students, parents, and teachers, covering your consumer rights related to duty of care and duty to warn. In addition, we cover gender violence prevention, situational awareness, and mental health, along with a framework to create a personalized safety assessment specific for your travel destination. Now, readers will learn a vital skill set that will last a lifetime. So today I ask you, what's most important in your life? Is it family, health, and safety? If it is, have me come and speak about safety to your school, your PTA, your church, or your business organization. Call or email me today and let's strategize safety together and get this book where it belongs, in the hands of people we care about. So thank you so much today for having me.
All right. Our next presenter is Go Off. Did we lose them? Here we go. Hello, Go Off. All right. We will be moving on then to our next presenter. His gram.
Hi, good morning.
Hold on one second. I'm going to be highlighting you.
Yeah.
And if you want to share your screen.
Sure. Do you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Delighted to be here. I'm Saeed, PhD in computer science with the research background for more than 10 years and publication in top-tier conferences and journals. Given my research background, I observe shortcomings in the ecosystem of web and social media. First challenge is that knowledge is buried and a story is missing. For example, if you search for California fire from Twitter, you have to search by hashtag or keyword. Still accessing past info is a challenge. Or for example, you want to Google for George Floyd and event afterwards. Gluing information, synchronizing information is not that easy. So these challenges come from the fact that there is a lack of categorization, organization, and structure, and also lack of linking and semantic accessing, and also lack of quality and credibility, which easily bring misinformation on both social media and web search. So in his gram, we reinvent the concept of social media by a couple of innovation. For example, first innovation is that we provide a concept that user can collaborate on generating content for a given topic. In this case, we are running something between Wikipedia and Twitter in more dynamic way. This innovation is because the second challenge is that user exposure on the social media is not in an open, connected, and structured way. To address that, we provide a platform that user can categorize information, can expose future plans, link content, and so on. In fact, his gram will perform as a knowledge book, as a search engine, and broadcasting medium. This is competitive landscape. We have advantage with these dimensions. So market size is very huge, more than $62 billion with a growth rate of 20% per year. So we're expecting some more than $2 billion in very few years. Business model is based on subscription fee and targeted ads. First milestone Q1 of 22 web application, followed by mobile application and so on. So we have 4 directions for go-to-market. So this is part of the MVP, and also I can show you online. For example, this page is summarized from Wikipedia, and user can submit in form of microblog there. So this link related to that, this is dummy data. These links related to that topic, and they also in future can be fact-checked. So this is our initial team. We have also some collaborator from Germany and some part of the project outsourced in India. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. All right.
I'm in earlier stage. I'm looking for capital in launch in 2 months. Yeah.
All right. Terrific. And next we're going to have IMAD up.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Denise Valenti. I'm the CEO and patent holder for products for IMAD. IMAD is impairment measurement marijuana and driving, and we are committed to saving lives. It does not matter if a person is for marijuana or against marijuana. We all have to be advocates for public safety. The rate of marijuana impaired driving fatal crashes doubles in those states when they bring on legal adult use marijuana. But unlike alcohol, there is no standard field sobriety walk and turn test, nor is there a breathalyzer. IMAD products solve this problem. We have a patent pending measure of eye tears, which would be parallel to a breathalyzer. We also have a virtual goggle that measures peripheral vision. When you use cannabis, your vision function is reduced, resulting in dead spots. The market are those 900,000 law enforcement officers in the United States that already are in desperate need of such a technology. We have demonstrated the efficacy of using tiers, having presented this year at 4 major research conferences associated with forensics. We already had demonstrated efficacy with the virtual goggle. The image below shows the dead spots we have in our demonstration of efficacy research. Our initial project and prototype development was funded by the National Institutes of Health. We have now been seeking outside funding. The FDA requires a clinical study, which costs approximately $3 million. Because of COVID, federal funding agencies have cut back on funding for impaired driving and had to put the money into COVID-related addiction. We are increasing our team, and we look forward to talking to those that are interested in this important topic. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. We're going to be moving on to Lameek. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly.
That's okay. It's Lameek Beauty, and I'm excited to be here. I hope everybody's feeling well. Great, amazing morning. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, hi everyone. I'm Kim Roxie, Kimroxie, and I'm the founder of Lameek Beauty. And Lameek is a tech-enabled clean color cosmetic company that focuses and prioritizes women of all diverse backgrounds. And I was diagnosed with a form of alopecia that caused my eyebrow hairs to fall out, and even on my scalp. And this is I'm not just any woman who lost her hair. I ran my own makeup store for 14 years, shaping people's brows, doing their makeup. And I had to create something to solve my own problem, but then as well as help the women that I had helped over the years, because I discovered that 75% of beauty products marketed to women of color are toxic, and that's a problem. Even though, if you look at the market, women of color actually spend 80% more on cosmetics. That's 5 times more than the average woman. So if you look at the market, this is a $12 billion problem to solve. And my mother, my inspiration, passed away from metastatic breast cancer, and no woman should ever be put at risk for the ingredients that she puts on her face. So we use AR technology where women can virtually try on products to match their skin tone. The brow duo is what I created. And I'm so happy to say last week, Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, hit the red carpet with our brow duo on. It's an amazing product. And we're also branching out to a whole suite of makeup collection. We recently just launched on the largest beauty specialty retailer in the country, Ulta.com. And we just see this white space in the market that we're here to solve. We are raising our seed round, and we are so happy to be here because we're looking for partners like yourselves to help us meet the 15% pledge that retailers have taken. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you very much. And next we have Living Become. You are up next, Kristen.
Hi, good morning. My name is Kristen Acidorian, and I am a social worker and personal development and leadership coach. My work as both inspired me to create the Changemaker Workshop. The Changemaker Workshop takes participants on a self-discovery journey that has them really uncovering what their values are. We've talked a lot about values. The investors were talking a lot about values, and this is really what a lot of people, even in leadership roles, have trouble really understanding what they value, what's important to them, and what they want more of in their lives. So this workshop takes them on this journey, And it does it through a Be Change project. The Be Change project is something that the participant develops based on their values. It could be a business, it could be a fundraiser, it could be whatever it is, and it empowers them to realize that they can go out into their communities and create change based on what they value. I saw a need for this. As a social worker, I worked in a residential facility with children who were very much affected by childhood trauma. As a coach and as a mom with a son who has social pragmatic issues. So a lot of what the workshop does teach you how to effectively communicate. It teaches you how to connect with people, but also connecting with your inner wisdom and who you are as an individual in order to raise your self-awareness and your confidence. We work with the Massachusetts departments of elementary and secondary education and of higher education. We have formed partnerships with Mass Higher boards. These boards are specifically designed to help their students get workforce and college ready. What they were finding was they were using statistics based on where market need was in terms of employment for their students. But what the work we're doing is going in and finding, like, what do you value, what's important, so they have purpose-based work. This leads them to more lifetime success, more career success, and eventually down the road, a higher earning potential. So they're not just switching from job to job based on what the market need is, but it's really focusing on who they are as an individual and what they value. Again, we are looking to expand. We are able to reach regions in New Bedford, the Berkshires, and Metro North Boston through working with the Mass Higher Workforce Boards. We've also worked with YMCAs. We're looking to create additional partnerships. We're looking to create partnerships with Year Up because they also do a lot of workforce ready work. This work is continuing to show momentum and need and want, and we are hoping to be able to continue to bring this not only to students, but to executives and other leaders across the board, because being able to grow your awareness and your confidence is something that we all need. Thank you so much for your time.
Great. Thank you very much. All right. Next up, we are going to have Ready, Set, Dinner. Petra?
Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen. Is it up already? Sorry. Okay. So good morning, everyone. My name is Petra Windner. I'm the founder of Ready, Set, Dinner, and we help people create healthier and happier meals with effortless and customized meal plans and easy access to local food. Home cooking is the healthiest and cheapest way to feed your family, but it is not easy. And while 35% of shoppers found a new passion for home cooking during the pandemic, planning different meals every day is their biggest challenge. And this pain point is not new. Already pre-pandemic, 1 in 3 millennials stated that planning is the hardest part of the cooking process. This is why I, as a trained chef, together with my technical co-founder, Nick, created Ready, Set, Dinner to put the planning on autopilot and connect directly to community and health-focused grocery retailers. Our customers can define in detail their cooking habits, eating preferences, or goals, and any dietary restrictions they have. Based on this, they receive customized weekly collections of healthy and delicious recipes. With one click, they produce a shopping list, saving both time and money while shopping. And while cooking, we help them step by step to healthy and happy meals. Ready, Set, Dinner combines that way the convenience of meal kits with the personalization and profitability of meal planners, and is affordable for families from all economic backgrounds, while supporting the local food system. Our existing users give us overwhelmingly positive feedback, and the first partnerships with stores are in discussion. So let's get cooking together. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you so much. And we have one next presenter, Carlene. You are up next with Cinnabit.
Good morning, everyone. Let me share my screen. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, good. Sorry about that.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Carlene, founder and CEO of Cinnabit, and I want to talk about two really, really urgent problems. The first being that parents are struggling to manage changing work environments, school environments, and childcare needs, and are looking for solutions. And companies are suffering under crippling and rising attrition costs because employees are choosing to leave the workforce entirely or change employers directly because of the lack of childcare benefits. And at Cinnabit, we answer to both of those problems. First, through the Cinnabit Marketplace, which was launched in March of this year, which lets parents easily find live virtual activities for K through 12 kids. The second piece is we work with corporations who provide access to the marketplace as an extension of childcare benefits beyond just daycare and nanny matching services. And finally, our proprietary platform is a powerful technology that brings together best-in-breed providers from folks like Sylvan Learning or CodeWizard HQ, and we handle all of the logistics on behalf of the families and make it easy for them. So if we take a quick look at the live marketplace, which you can all visit, families are able to create a single unified family profile of multiple kids. They're able to search by various categories that support the entire journey of K through 12 development and augment academic curriculums and so forth. The platform brings together best-in-breed providers from, like I mentioned, Sylvan and CodeWizard. Families can easily find, book, and manage enriching virtual activities for K through 12. And our platform handles all of the logistics, booking, scheduling, managing, paying for, and makes it easier for parents. So at the moment, we are finalizing our pre-seed raise and would love to talk about potentially bringing on another partner. We're post-revenue, go live of our MVP product, and have 3 large customer pilots in flight at the moment. So I'd love to tell you more, but I think I'm out of time. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you very much. And, you know, you can tell it's early in the morning and I'm used to Mass Innovation nights. So we have one more presenter. It's like A, B, C, D. Yeah. So Jessica, you are up next. And there you go.
Thank you. You know, it feels like a Mass Innovation night for me here because I'm joining from California and the sun has not come up yet. So thank you for having me. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Jessica. I am one of the co-founders of Miron Vr. And we create VR solutions that are focused in rehab and improving mobility for people of all ages. We didn't just start doing this. VR, especially in healthcare, has become really popular over the past few years, but we've been in this industry for over 8 years, creating activations for Black Friday doorbusters, live events, narrative experiences, and branded experiences as well. So we have a lot of different applications of VR. It got us a lot of attention a couple of years ago when we were creating a narrative experience with this artist. And unfortunately, a couple of months after the experience had its premiere, the artist's niece, Eden, who you see here, was injured doing a backbend in her living room. Just 2 days before Christmas, she was playing like any fit young girl does and had a spinal stroke and became paralyzed from the waist down. She had seen the VR experience that we created with her uncle and kept telling her parents, remember when we were back in LA with Uncle Greg and we painted that mural with him?
Jessica, we're still
Yeah.
seeing just your first screen.
Oh, huh. What about now?
Nope, just seeing the desktop with the presentation PDF, and we're just seeing the first screen. So maybe try resharing.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go.
Okay.
Moved.
Okay, great. So let me get to the next slide. Here, do you see Eden now? Okay,
Yes.
awesome. So Eden's mom said something to us that really stuck out. It was, if life was just about Eden walking again, it would be so easy. You know, she has to remember to do pressure releases in her chair so she doesn't get a pressure sore. She has to do weight-bearing exercises where if you see in this little corner, she's hanging on to the plank for stability. When she's using Miron, she's able to use a little bit more of her core and let go of that crutch of hanging on to the stander. What we really saw with her was that there was a different connection happening. She wasn't being prompted to do the exercises. She was participating with more endurance. She had more intensity. And that's where the name Miron came from. We're looking to activate mirror neurons to take the focus off of the mundane aspects of rehab and put it into the gamified elements that make it more engaging and more motivating. Since meeting Eden, we've been paired with traumatic brain injury, stroke, Parkinson's, MS, and we're based in those principles of physical therapy and occupational therapy. We're not reinventing the wheel on what's tried and true practice, but we're making it more engaging and with less pain. There's a huge snapshot of rehab candidates. 1 in every 2 Americans would benefit from some form of rehab for over 3 months, but only 10 people take advantage of their insurance-covered rehab. We're also addressing the question of what happens after your insurance-covered rehab runs out. So I know there's a lot more to share about it. You know, we're used across the world with rehab centers and hospitals, as well as private practice that are looking to engage their patients in different ways. Neuropathic pain is targeted, getting core and trunk stability to maintain independence. You don't need a caregiver from the moment you wake up. Pairing Miron with FES, which is one of the case studies that we have in progress with Craig Hospital right now. Using gait training, seeing a reciprocal arm motion come back into play. So it tells us the brain is using itself differently. We've expanded telehealth during COVID, making Miron available into people's homes. And they're looking forward to expanding that further. What's proprietary is our code base, our library, and all the different types of conditions that we cover within it. I have some testimonials, but we're really proud that we won a CES award last year for helping to improve the lives of people with disabilities and the elderly. And that is most tried and true because of our ease of use. It's easy for all ages to use. So this is our team accepting the award. We have an open Series Seed round right now. We've met the minimum to close, and I thank you for taking the time to listen to this.
Thank you so much. All right. So we are next going to be bringing back our investors and Sam. And where are we here? So and maybe if you could stop sharing, Jessica, thank you so much. All right. So Sam, what do you think? So we're going to add you back into Spotlight. We are going to bring our investors back as well. So, all right, Sam, these are some terrific local entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really love hearing from people working on cool ideas, and I love the variety and just the gamut of topics and subjects that we just ran with all of those. Just like really every sector imaginable. And that's sort of like the fun part about my job is I get to write about vastly different things every day. So yeah, really cool stuff. And it was really fun to listen in.
Absolutely. And I'm also going to ask everyone, if you are not one of our investors, if you can make sure that you mute, that would be terrific. Thank you so much. All right, investors, you saw a whole bunch of cool startups with interesting ideas. Were there any in particular that stood out that you would want to give some feedback to? Can we start with you, Deb?
Sure. I'd say overall, like really strong, 2-minute pitches. 2-minute pitches are really tough. And I feel like I got a great sense of what all of you do with your companies. Just really impressive, really impressive slate of companies here. So I'm gonna leave it at that because you're asking me to pick a favorite, and there's a whole bunch I want to follow up with, which is what you guys want to do in this event. Is you want us to say we want to follow up with you, so you've done what you needed to do in 2 minutes.
Yay! All right, Pradeep.
I'm going to call this the 2-minute tease. There were so many interesting ideas, and the questions came up even as they were speaking. But fantastic job of putting in so much information into 2 minutes, enough to say, okay, here's all the questions I want answered. And yes, I do want to follow up with several of them.
Excellent. Lisa?
I would echo what Deb said, which is that a pitch that is limited in time is a really tough forum. And 2 minutes, typically it's 7 to 10 minutes. 2 minutes makes it even harder. One thing that really came through is, of course, everybody has a very different kind of a product and a mission, but the individuality of approaches and the degree to which it was clear that these companies are important to the people speaking, that comes through not just in what you say, but how you present yourself. So really, really appreciate everybody's putting themselves out there in this forum. It's not easy, and people did a terrific job.
And Marjorie?
And I would just add, I thought this was terrific. I think the number of companies and the diversity of companies were fantastic. And also it gave a little bit of information to get the idea and to follow up on interested companies. The only thing I would add, perhaps in some of the companies did that, is to really talk about who the kind of proof of concept, who is buying it at this point in time, a little bit about the traction. Some did, some didn't, but I think to have that in is important because at the investment side, and proof of concept is important.
I would definitely echo that. And obviously I come from a different perspective than all of you guys. I'm looking for companies to write about, not invest in. It's much lower stakes, obviously. But I always like to hear, like, who are your customers? Like, who have you sold this to? Who are you trying to sell this to? And sometimes it's too early to say anything about that. And that's totally fair. It's just a certain stage to be at. But it just, again, the proof of concept helps sell you and tell me why you matter and why you're important and why you're going to succeed.
Excellent. Thank you all. We're going to be moving on to our next portion of today's program, which is basically small groups and networking. If any of you have participated in our live events, I think the networking is always a highlight for anybody. So what we're going to be doing is creating a series of breakout rooms. All of our investors and Sam are also going to be, and our entrepreneurs obviously are going to be heading into breakout rooms. I'm going to be assigning the breakout rooms automatically, and there are members of my team who are also here as co-hosts, and they are going to be able to move people around, as well as they're going to be moving themselves around. Trying to get this number of people into breakout rooms is always challenging. I am going to make another plea for sharing information about innovation nights, about all the cool startups that you saw today. What we try to do is make it easy. If you are on Twitter, there is a click to tweet about every company that is in the chat. You can scroll back up through the chat. You can click on any of those little links and they will automatically load a tweet for you. If the company has a Twitter account, it'll load the Twitter their Twitter username, the right hashtags, all that stuff. You can edit the tweet, so it's not dictating necessarily. It's helping. Honest, I swear. All right. So we will be heading into the breakout rooms. We will bring you back before 9 o'clock. My suggestion is that you go around the room. There will be small groups. Introduce yourselves and share why you're here today. All right, folks, heading out. And when it asks you, do you want to head off to a breakout room? Please say yes. We'd love to meet you. Off we go.